Looking good. It's just connecting. Just bear with me. We are starting shortly. Okay, wonderful. And we are live on YouTube as well. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to mute everyone so we have an uninterrupted audio experience, and we will be starting shortly. Participants, all right. So don't unmute yourself. I'm going to give you shortly the chance to ask your questions. All right, so let's get started officially. Thank you for bearing with me. We're going to go officially starting now and recording. Fantastic. So first of all, can you see me on speaker's view? Carlos, can you give me thumbs up? Can you see me on speaker's view? Thank you so much. Fantastic. So dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, a very, very warm welcome to our live session, which today I titled Your Africa Business and Investment Questions Answered. So as you know, we had a series of free live sessions and training sessions on how to start your African business in the last couple of weeks. This is the third, and for the time being, final live session, in the early summer of 2020. And today I really just wanted to give back. I decided last time to do this additional session, spontaneously, because so many of you have so many questions in regards to starting your business in Africa successfully, or possibly growing an existing business successfully, or investing on the continent. And I just wanted to make time to just answer your questions. So today I won't be teaching you anything, but what I want to say before we dive in is that I am a true believer of Africa's time has come, and it will be growing bigger. I think Africa is a giant in the middle of an awakening, and we will see a lot of improvement and increase in business relations, and also in regards to investment on the continent. And the right time to get in is actually now. Maybe it was even a couple of years ago or 5 years ago. It depends on which, in which industry you want to get started in and in which country. But what I'm trying to say is that Africa's emerging economies, by and large, are getting more crowded. And right now, in a lot of industries, in a lot of countries, you still have the opportunity to come in as a kind of an early mover, because there's very often still very little competition. However, in certain industries, and me certainly over the last 5-7 years, I've seen huge increase in competition in certain niches. And therefore, if you are interested to start a business in Africa, if that has been a dream of yours for a long time, or you're looking for alternatives because the world is in a kind of a turmoil situation at the moment, and you're looking for alternatives, then the right time is now. And I think there's a reason why you attended this web class, and I really want space. Let me tell you, it is rewarding, it is meaningful, and it can also be very profitable while making a huge impact on the continent. Okay, so today I just want to answer your questions, and so let me hear from you. What are your Africa business and investment questions? I'm going to take first those of you on video, and I can see Andrew, and I like that. That is like a go-getter attitude. I haven't even finished my sentence, and he wants to make sure he's first. Fantastic. So we're going to go Andrew, Kay, and then Elias. And please take it away and ask me your questions, and I will answer to my best of ability. Go ahead, Andrew, please.
Are people on the continent willing to purchase from other Africans? Meaning, is there a mindset that Chinese goods are better products?
All right, that's a great question. Actually, let me change, sorry, my microphone, because for some reason, the same happened last week. I still, can you still hear me well? May I check? Can I get thumbs up? Thank you so much. All right, thank you, Andrew. And I'm just going to mute everyone again. So here's the thing. When it comes to, sorry, let me mute everyone. So when it comes to products that are from outside of Africa, you know, there are different kind of levels. So first of all, they're branded products. You have the typical American brands, the European brands, and they, you know, they do generally still very well, especially among Africans who are in higher income classes, because brand awareness is pretty high on the continent, especially foreign brand awareness, I have to say. That's one thing. The second thing is when it comes to the Chinese product, by and large, most of the Chinese products are the products that can undercut the local products by price. Unfortunately, you know, we have still a lot of competition based on price in Africa, rather than based on quality or based on standards or based on ethics. And very often price still very much wins. So you have high brand awareness for foreign, like European and Western products. You have Chinese products where you have a price winning. However, there is a new trend. And that new trend happening on the continent right now is that African governments, by and large, want to boost local manufacturing. And so what we can see is we have campaigns going on. For example, we have the Made in Kenya campaign, and even an office has been established to, you know, to really boost the Made in Kenya brand. We have the Made in Rwanda brand. We have the Made in Ghana brand. And these kind of campaigns have become national campaigns to teach people the importance of buying locally. Now, offices have been established to run these campaigns. That means it is really meant as a you know, important effort, because government offices have been established in this regard. So the awareness is growing to buy locally, because local purchases will you know, boost the local economy and create jobs. All right. And then, of course, we also have now, when it comes to food items, Andrew, in particular, we have a growing fear among Africans when it comes to imported food products from China. You know, the scare, similar, you know, like the one we had in Nigeria with the plastic rice from China. But not only there, we had, for example, in Kenya, I've mentioned that last time, there was a real, like on a national level, a worry that and the reason is because we had government officials dying of cancer, 3 of them or so in a couple of months, and it was all on the news. Unmute yourselves. Please don't unmute yourselves. And that meant people were questioning for the first time, why are we getting sick? Why are so many of us dying of cancer? Of course, there's the lifestyle, but then it also comes down to the quality of food. And so again, there's an increased awareness now among Africans that they want quality food and that they want locally grown food. But when it comes to the quality assurance also, there's still a long, long way to go. Yongere Zachari, you keep on unmuting yourself. So please stay muted. Otherwise, I need to find other ways. All right, Andrew, was your question answered?
Yes, it was. It just now, because I was thinking about maybe starting some type of manufacturing. So that is just food for thought now going forward as to what the possibilities would be for me.
Okay, great. So let me say a couple of these things when you're thinking of food manufacturing, or what kind of product?
Well, seeing how there's going to be such a great boom in the development of Africa, I was thinking more on the line of probably construction equipment,
Right.
smaller hand tools, something to compete with like the major brands, for example, like a DeWalt over here in the States or Milwaukee, stuff like that.
All right. So what I want to say just generally, important is when you're trying to compete with the, let's say, the big guys, it is important that you understand the power of positioning. Let me give you an example. There came and there's probably more, but I have been made aware of a Ghanaian brand of rice. All right. And someone of our academy members shared the picture and they said, oh, wow, isn't that fantastic? Look, there's a Ghanaian company, a Ghanaian owned, producing rice, and this is their product. So she shared the product with us and the picture of the brand. And I looked at it and I said, it is fantastic. However, looking at the branding, I see a huge opportunity being missed. And that is, if I saw that Ghanaian made in Ghana rice somewhere in the shelves in Africa, I would not be able to distinguish between that rice and any of the other rice that comes maybe from Pakistan or Vietnam or so. Because frankly, it didn't look different, nor did it different on the package. Okay, maybe if you turn it around, you can see it's made in Ghana, but that was kind of it. And so I said, this is a huge opportunity missed, because you have a lot of people in Africa right now who are actually looking for safe food, for quality food, for made in Africa food. And you have a certain consumer base in Africa who are willing to even pay more if that is given. Now, this company, Ghanaian company, in my view, missed out to really target that particular consumer base in Africa that is even looking out for that food and that is prepared to pay more for it. So what I would have done, instead of just saying, oh, white rice, and then maybe there's a little kind of note saying on the back is made in Ghana, I would have put it out big there. I would have said, organic, safe rice, and I would have put something like safe somewhere in the, in the subtitle, because that plays exactly into the concern of people and why they are looking for the alternative. So I would have put something like, organic rice made by or produced by farmers in Ghana. I would have put a big flag of Ghana next to it, right? And then in the subtitle, I would have said, our rice is of high quality and safe for your children and family. Something like that, that is what it takes in regards to position yourself successfully. And I could give you so many more examples where those producing on the continent, especially agricultural food, have not understood the power of positioning and how to stand out so that their product or their rice can compete with the millions of tons of imported rice. It can, if you understand how to position yourself. All right. So I hope that was helpful, Andrew, because we have a big group of people here. I'm going to move on. But just generally, for all of you, understanding that is crucial. If you look in the shelves like everyone else, and you look like the big guys, and your message is either not there, or you have a message, you're supporting farmers and your product is grown or something in Africa, but if you keep that to yourself, how would your buyers know? Therefore, the marketing message and the positioning of your product only becomes powerful if you have clarity about that and you are then able to communicate that actively to your target buyers. This is very, very important. And let me share another example, because I know this is of interest for many of you, to many of you. I have a friend of mine who is an she's African diaspora. She grew up in London and returned to Ghana. She told me, for example, that she said, you know, one of my concerns is the milk in the shelves of Accra. I don't trust that milk, and I would rather have a family-owned business or a Ghanaian family that produces local milk, or anyone really, but producing local milk, right? Where I can trace it, I know it's safe, and I know what's in there. And I would be prepared to pay more for it. Now, unfortunately, Ghana is a country, well, that's not unfortunate. Ghana is a country with so much arable, green, fertile land, but unfortunately, it doesn't have a very active livestock industry. And therefore, dairy production, for example, is something, by the way, not just in Ghana, across Africa, that's missing. You have a continent full of livestock. In fact, across Africa, we have the highest livestock density in the world. However, when it comes to livestock-related products, dairy, butter, meat, even skin, like, you know, leather and so on, yogurt, you will find a huge shortage of that on the continent of Africa. And I stop here because that is my passion. I've worked with nomads for many years, as you may know, and therefore, for that reason, I'm very passionate about talking about the herders and livestock owners in Africa. There's a huge opportunity for you right there. Okay, so Kay goes next, Kay, and then Elias. Yes, Kay, you need to unmute yourself. Kay, can you hear me?
Oh, is that? Yes. Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Harnet, for this opportunity today for doing this one more time. Yes, yeah, my name is Francis Pinero, and I'm based in the UK, and I work in the UK, but I do have contacts across East and West Africa. Now, my question to you is, what specifically can you do to help us network or break into market share in the West? Because I face that's a very huge barrier for me. It's a challenge. How many doors do you want to knock on? How many people do you want to get in touch with, having to use, for example, tools like CRM, doing target marketing and so on. But I'm talking of, for example, specific network events, specific groups or association that you can.
All right, let me ask you, and sorry if I interrupt you sometimes, all of you, I don't mean to be rude. I just want to quickly get to the point of the question. So the industry, or which product are you looking for to in regards to networking in the West?
In terms of product, that's what I said. I have contacts with people who are producers or suppliers of agricultural products. So that includes things like bitter nuts, cola nuts, and so on.
Food products.
Food items, yes, food products.
All right.
That's on one side. And the other side is things like minerals, you know, all these topaz and so on.
What is that?
Topaz, solid minerals, all these precious stones.
Minerals. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you for your question, Kay. So here's what I would suggest. One of the best places to network for these kind of products, if you want to bring them into a foreign market, are the related expos. Now, when you are looking, for example, at food products, there are some food-related expos in the United Kingdom, but also in Europe or in the USA or in Dubai, that are some of the leading kind of expos when it comes to food items. So one of the best ways to network is actually to attend one of these expos. First of all, you will have the right audience under one roof. So instead of just knocking doors and going from one potential buyer to the next, you will have everyone under one roof, the suppliers, the buyers, the government agencies in the UK or Europe. And therefore, I would actually open Google, go on your, type in Food Expos UK, or Food Expos Europe, or do some research about the top ones that are happening, and then put them into your calendar and attend them. Now, by attending these events, first of all, you can really learn what are they exhibiting, what is missing, where are these products coming from? So what's there, but also what's missing? Where are the products coming from? You know, how much is Africa represented, or the products that you want to bring into the United Kingdom? If it's there, what is the quality? What is the packaging? If it's not there, okay, it's missing. Why is it missing? And talk to the people who are exhibiting. Ask them a lot of questions. So more than talking about what you want to do, use it as a research and ask what they are doing. How did they get into business? How long have they been there? With which countries are they trading? You know, what are their key challenges? What are the trends in the market? And you will find a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of really reliable professional people in business in your industry. So just attend 2 or 3 of these expos per year, and you know, you're kind of good to go in terms of network and understanding your industry better.
Okay, now, yes, that's one. Thank you so much for that. And right now we're in the COVID season.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna do a quick rule because we're so many people. So
okay,
I know
okay.
I'm
okay, thank you.
One chance each, but because you have started. So I'm gonna let you finish. Be quick, okay, and everyone who comes after, one question each. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, because of this COVID season, it's been difficult to get those kind of opportunities right now. I mean, all events that relate to such as cancelled. So that's why I was asking for tips.
Okay, good point. Good point. Now, here's the thing. You're absolutely right that these expos for the time being are not happening. Many have been postponed. I myself was registered for the Intra-African Trade Fair in Kigali, Rwanda, which has been postponed to 2021. But nevertheless, you can still apply for them, or, you know, register. But second, everyone faces that problem, Kay. Right now, the retailers and supermarkets are doing their main buying decisions, you know, also during these, or contacts during these kind of expos. So they're usually traveling a lot because they want to get access to these suppliers. And therefore, I think, you know, by reaching out to them simply and saying, okay, these are the products that I have, you position yourself, maybe explain why there is a benefit of buying from you and getting those products from a certain country in Africa. Maybe there was a supply chain from China that is not reliable anymore. A lot of people in business are now checking their supply chains again, and they want to become less dependent on China. And therefore, you know, if you position yourself in this regard, I think you can still reach out to people by email, by phone. I've done it myself, and I know they're very responsive. If you position yourself well in that email, you can research the retailers that you want to sell to, and then usually they have someone in a procurement department. You call the main office, you ask about the email or name of the person in the sales office, and they usually give it to you, and then you contact them directly. All right, so for the time being, you have to do it by email or phone if there's COVID-19, absolutely. I hope this was helpful. Okay, fantastic.
Okay,
so
thank you so much.
Elias is next. You're welcome, Kay. Elias is next, please. Elias, grab your microphone.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Dr. Harnet. How are you doing this morning?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, I have a quick question that entails to. My first question is about product, and the second question is about suppliers and sellers. Do you have a program in which you help people find like a particular product for certain markets? And also, do you have a program in which you help people who are ready to start to connect them with the suppliers and the buyers? That's my question.
Yes, sure, Elias. In fact, this was a session we had last week. It was all about how to import from Africa. Yes, I do have a program. It's called Importing from Africa program, where I teach you how to import, which are the best products that you can import from Africa right now, and we connect you to the supplier. What we don't do is find the buyers for you, but we teach you who are the best buyers, and what to say and how to position yourself. We also have successful importers who will be training you. So absolutely, for all of you, by the way, also stay in touch. You can just check my website, africajumpstart.com, and you will find more information on that. Or check out last week's session on YouTube about the importing session. You'll get an entire training on that I did last week for free. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Harnet. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Elias. All right. So Nyang Clovis, excuse me, Nyang Clovis, and then yes, go ahead, please.
Doctor, I'm so happy to join your program first time. So I wanted to find out for some of us that were just becoming interested, do you have a program which we can invest in? I mean, right now, that's what I'm looking for at the moment.
So you want to invest in Africa?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, I have an aspect of investment in my Africa Business Academy. We have jointly invested in a pineapple farm in Ghana, for example. But I do not really focus on enabling investments. I focus more on assisting people to start their businesses in Africa or to do business with Africa. Having said that, I can also guide you in regards to how to make your best investment, but I do not have a program on that. So do you want some gems on how to invest in Africa?
Yes, I'm
so
really
let me ask you, if I may, where are you based, on the continent or outside?
I'm outside. I'm in Maryland. I'm in the US right now.
Okay. Any particular country you would like to invest in, or you're open?
I'm open. I'm very open.
That's good. That's very good to hear. So quick tips. If you want to invest in Africa for the first time, okay, number one, make sure you go what I call for a low risk, high opportunity category in terms of country. Low risk, high opportunity. So that is something I teach as a success strategy. We have 54 markets, and the markets, I apologize, that's my allergy. And the markets differ very much in regards to opportunity ratio and risk ratio. All right. So not every country in Africa is emerging and has a lot of opportunity. And not every country is as risky as another country. And therefore, your best category is the low risk, high opportunity category for your investment, because it means your investment will be safer as compared to investing in a higher risk category, which is the high opportunity, high risk country, or the low opportunity, high risk country, which is the worst category. Low opportunity, high risk. You want to avoid those countries altogether. So therefore, the success of your investment when you invest in Africa for the very first time starts with the right market selection, because in some countries your investment will be generally safer than in others. That's one. Number two, you want to look for an industry that is on a clear upward trend in the country you then chose. So you don't want to choose an industry that is in its infant shoes or that is still sleeping, but you want a very dynamic industry. Once you found the right low risk, high opportunity country, and you found the industry that is very dynamic and on a clear upward trend, you then want to find within that industry a already existing business. All right, I'm going to mute everyone. An already existing business that is doing so well that it has clients queuing, but it doesn't have the capacity to serve them all. Did you get that? Because, all right. Now I have to say goodbye to someone in the room because he keeps on, hold on. He keeps on jumping I'm so sorry. Give me a second, everyone. Give me a second. And give me a second, please. I can't find him. I think he's left. All right. I apologize. Okay. So, Nyang, so what I was saying is that you should then look for an already existing business that is very successful. And you have these businesses, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters. There are plenty of those on the continent of Africa, where you have business owners that are doing very well. They have been in business for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Now they have clients queuing, but they do not have enough capacity to serve those clients, which means that they need a bigger chunk of investment to increase their production, for example. All right. And so just to give you an example, that pineapple farm we invested in, you know, he has more clients and demand for more pineapples than he has pineapples. And you know, there was an article of a Rwandese teacher, former teacher, who turned into a pig farmer in Rwanda. He got the orders for the meat from the hotels in Kigali, but guess what? He had to turn those orders down because he didn't have enough capacity to really produce as much meat every week. These are the businesses that are out there in Africa, thousands of them. Now, when you invest into them, you're not hoping that their ideas will work. You're not wondering if they can pull it off. They're already successful. All you do, you invest in their growth rather than in a business idea or in a struggling business. Okay, so this is the 3 points that I teach to successfully invest in Africa for the very first time. And I'm going to repeat it because I know a lot of you are interested in this. Number 1, look for a low risk, high industry market because it will be safer for you. There's less corruption generally. You will be secured as an investor. Okay, you can go in front of court and argue for your investment. If anything, you know, you can enforce contracts. That's the right term. If anything should happen. So go for low risk, high opportunity country, then look for a dynamic industry in that country. And number 3, look for a business that is already succeeding. It has buyers queuing. It needs your investment to increase its capacity to serve more buyers. That is the success strategy here. Okay, I hope this was helpful.
Yes.
I said, I'm so sorry, Nyang. I said only I allow once because so many are queuing, and then I cannot be fair to the rest of them. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be rude. So Adolite is next, and then Yae. Adolite and Yae, please. All right, Adolite and Yae. Okay, Jokevet, go ahead.
Sorry, I had to unmute. My question is, if you are going into one country, because that is the best opportunity for you and the resources you have, but later you want to move to a different country that is more difficult to get into as an individual, are some countries easier to get in if you're going in as a business entity than if I'm coming from the US. So if I'm trying to go there as an individual, there's different rules for getting into the country. Do those rules in some countries, and I'm specifically thinking of Tanzania, the rules for that country, would it be different for other countries going in as a business entity than just going there and using your regular visa to get in?
All right. No, I think for getting in, thank you for the question, Jokovic. I think for getting in, it doesn't really matter. You can just, you know, come in with a visa and get a business registered as an individual, which could be set up as a local business. All right. So what you can do is, for all of you, you can set up a local business, which means it is a, you know, Tanzanian-based business. Or if you had a business in the US, in most cases, you can also open a branch of that business in any African country. That process is usually a little bit takes more time, because then people want to have, you know, the proof of the, or the administration wants the proof of the registration of the company. It wants to maybe see, you know, the documents in terms of, do you have shareholders, who are the directors, and usually more documentation is required if you open a branch of an existing American business as compared to you're just opening a new local business. All right, both is possible. However, what it comes down to is, how long will your registration of your business take? That is one thing. So there's huge differences in Africa in regards to that. Again, they will always happen much faster in a low risk, high opportunity country than they happen in higher risk countries. In higher risk countries, usual registration takes much longer. That's one thing. The other thing is that as a non-national, Diokovic and everyone else, as a non-national of that country, you need to understand if there are requirements for you to bring in certain amounts of money in order to register your business. So for those of you who do not know, for some countries in Africa require that you bring in a minimal capital amount of money in order to be able to start a business or to register. Now, this, I will touch on it, but it is quite complex, you know, and there are different rules, but let me touch on it. So let's say Angola, and I may not have the very, very latest, but just to give you an example. So let's say Angola is a high risk, high opportunity country, okay? So now Angola may ask you to bring in 500,000, so $500,000, in order to register any business as a foreigner, as an example. Then you have Ghana, and again, it may not be the latest updated version, but the latest version I had was, when you come in as a non-national, then you know, you also need to bring forward a certain amount of capital. It was 500,000 if you go alone, and 250,000 if you go with a national. But certain industries are exempt. So there were certain sectors that the government of Ghana wanted to push forward, and these sectors were exempt from those requirements, meaning that you could start on a zero budget, you know, or doesn't matter how much you have. When it comes to Tanzania, they also require from non-nationals that you bring in a certain amount of capital. However, that amount of capital does not need to be money sitting in your bank. It can also be in forms of assets, and that is everywhere in Africa usually. So let's say you are going into agriculture, and you know, the value of your land is 50,000. You can make that work towards that minimum capital requirement. You could have, maybe you bring in machinery that you have to import. That also can be made, can work towards your minimum capital requirement. Here's the thing. A lot of governments are working on changing them, easing them up. There was a huge call in Ghana to kind of ease that up for the diaspora and diaspora at large. Because here's another thing. There's diaspora, and some of them mean only the Ghanaians or only Tanzanians, you know, and there are still different rules for them. They often count as nationals. While then there is diaspora, the rest of us, who may either not have a nationality of a certain country, or our country is not a country to invest in because it's a higher risk, low opportunity country. So you need to study that before going in and to understand that. And then there are countries where it doesn't apply. Basically, they call it that they treat you the same as a national. So Kenya is, for example, one example. They've changed that, all right? Rwanda is another example. As far as I know, Namibia, Botswana are countries where they basically treat you as a national and you will not have issues. It doesn't matter how much you bring forward. Then there are countries that protect certain industries. As we saw in Ghana, they make certain industries available to everyone, and therefore you can come in even with £10 in the bank or $10 in the bank. And other industries, they do kind of protect and they make the entry into that industry more difficult. All right, so I hope this was helpful. We'll go quickly now. Eduard is next. Jij, Eduard Seydou. Yade Eduard Seydou. All right, you need to be quick. Adirahman Cynthia Gillette. Just grab your microphones if you hear your name.
Hello.
Yes, please. Who is it?
Hello, it's Cynthia.
Yes, Cynthia, go ahead, please.
Hi. So I have a question. I have done your course, and I finished the course. I'm already in the beauty industry. I finished the course, and I'm thinking of adding the same product that I'm used to selling.
Cynthia, may I ask you which course?
Extra.
Cynthia, may I ask you which course you did?
I did the importing from Africa course, and
Cynthia,
I've joined the Facebook group as well.
Fantastic, Cynthia. If that is the case, we will have our own live session just with the importers.
Okay.
And then
that's fine then.
Yeah, we'll have it very soon. I'll announce it, and then we have a smaller group, and we can really take time for each other. Is that a deal?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
All right,
yeah, that's
Cynthia.
A deal.
Thank you. I'll see you soon in our importer group. Nice to meet you. Okay, see you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. All right, so Gillette, Abdurrahman, Abdulit Ibrahim Serwania. Go ahead. All right, otherwise, who is on the video? Just wave. If you're visible, you always go first. Hello? All right, let me see who I go. Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, I'm Abdullah.
Yes, please, Abdullah, go ahead.
Right. Basically, I am an experienced entrepreneur in terms of African business. I enjoyed, had my personal experience in going to the Gambia. I was in the agro-industrial business, which meant I was exporting raw cashew nuts, sesame seeds, and peanuts to the Asian countries like India and Vietnam in particular. I didn't realize that adding value was the main, way out to really, bump up the economy in Africa. At the same time, the backbone of it was or is actually the young people who were unemployed. So it would have created employment and everything. I invested my life in it, invested everything, looked at establishing a production line in the cashew field in terms of producing and roasting cashew nuts. Initially, I attracted.
Abdullah, I actually love listening to you, but I can see everyone else queuing. Sorry about that.
Right,
go ahead.
Sorry. My question is, with all that experience and even having a contract for supplying one of the major snack producers in the UK here, I'm in UK by the way, I was unable to meet the capacity as you explained. I've explored the packaging, the standardization, the quality assurance and everything, but the challenge is to have that mindset and to have that sort of injection of support, either investment wise from the technical part and the financial aspect, as well as the packaging, which is the presentation of the product, which we have done all studies.
So Abdullah, let me ask you. So are you looking for the investment into your company, or are you looking for direction where to go next outside of trading bulk products and
in
trading
reality, I'm looking for both. I'm looking for both a like-minded, who can get in there knowing that it's a I'm operating in Senegal right now. Senegal is I believe in your categories would be a high opportunity,
low risk, high opportunity. It is.
Yes.
Cool.
And
all right, Abdoulaye, let me come in. Let me come in. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I don't
I
mean to
understand. I actually just it's no coincidence. I didn't know about it. A friend.
All right. So let me come in. So here's what I would say. First of all, you're absolutely right to realize that the real success for you and for Africa is in adding value to the cashew nuts. All right. So the challenge for Africa is that it is taking too much of its products out in a raw format. But first of all, not only are you going to create more jobs with that in Africa, but for you also as an entrepreneur and business leader, you will position yourself in a much more powerful way if you brand your product, value added and branded, because as you rightly know, the commodities, in big bulk, they're also very fluctuating. The prices are fluctuating, the markets are fluctuating, and you will always be at the mercy of those markets and the kind of general prices. However, when you own a brand, you are not vulnerable as much to those fluctuations because that is your brand, that's your price. And therefore, what I would say is the way forward for you is to position yourself as a brand. Okay, now that means to add value to one of those products. Don't start with all of them. You would feel the overwhelm. Choose one of them. The cashew, I would say you said cashew, sesame, and a few. I think the cashew is a very good one because the demand for nuts is fast growing in the West. And whenever I need cashew nuts, that particular shelf is empty in my supermarket, So there's a huge demand for it. It's growing. And now you can have the added benefit of consumer awareness is changing. So consumers actually want a product where there's a story around. They want a product where there's a story around, where they know it's ethically sourced, where people are not being exploited. So what I would do is, as I said with the rice earlier, make sure that your cashew nuts do not look like everyone else's cashew nuts on the shelf. Put on the back a picture of a farmer family that is one of your cashew farmers, put a story behind it. So it becomes a product that certain people here in the West buy, they feel good about it on top of eating healthy nuts. I think that's the way forward in regards to, it may be a bit of a, you may need some investments, but that is the way to go. And you can find some of the best contacts in this regard when you go to Africa business events. So when you go to industry events, especially in the UK where you are, there's so many, I know it's right now on hold because of Corona, but there's so many of these industry events and there are investors who are looking for people like you. All right. So I hope this was helpful. And now what I will do,
thank you.
You're welcome. And now, okay, because I can see so many people queuing. And the reason why I did this session is because last time so many people will be queuing. We're queuing. Quick, come to the point to put your question across, please. And I will be quick in answering. Okay, we go like boom, boom, boom now. All right, so next.
Hello, doctor.
Who is this? Yes, who is it?
Ibrahim Sarai.
Ibrahim, yes, go ahead, Ibrahim. I called you. Go ahead, please.
Interestingly, I'm discussing about import Africa. Well, I'm a resident in East Africa, and I'm looking at exporting. In fact, on Thursday this week,
okay, quick, straight to your question. As I said, I'm so sorry, Ibrahim, to interrupt you.
What's your guidance about residents in Africa supporting those, linking up with the importers from the European market, American and Asian market? Do you have any information or lecture about that?
To finding basically buyers abroad?
Yes.
Right. Yes. I mean, that is it's an important aspect, and it's a difficult aspect. Basically, again, one of the best ways to find these buyers is if you meet them somewhere at industry events. And I know this is not possible for everyone because it creates, you need to travel, you need to invest in plane fares and being at these exhibitions. But first of all, generally, for those of you who are flexible, who can leave their country, who have the money, these expos, these industry events are the best ones to find buyers because they hop from expo to expo in order to find suppliers. That's what these buyers do. So that is one of the best ways.
In that case,
yes. Ibrahim,
in
yes,
that
because
case, could I request you to give to provide that information about those industry events? Maybe a list of this maybe takes place than this text. Yes.
Yeah, what you do is you go on basically on Google, you put in the item that you're looking for. So for example, if it's a food product, you can say Food Expo Worldwide, Food Expo, International Food Expo, or International Organic Food Expo, or International Drink Expo, or International Cocoa Expo, International Coffee Expo. There are so many of those. And that's where you find, and I attended one last year, where I met a lot of people from Africa who traveled in. So these were the suppliers who traveled into Berlin to find their buyers. And what you can do is you can come together with other suppliers to cut costs. So what you can do is you can maybe share an exhibition stand to cut cost, but it is an investment. So make sure that the event you're attending is a good event and not some kind of first time or second time expo, because they do not have the audience and the dynamic you want. You want an expo that is well known in the industry, that has been standing for the last 5 to 10 years. That's what you're looking for. The other one is to reach out to your industry associations in the country. Where are you? Which country you said?
Uganda, but the problem with African countries, that
Ibrahim,
information is not very organized.
I know, Ibrahim, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. As I said to everyone else, I will listen and then I will talk and I will move to the next. I don't want to be impolite, but I can see so many people queuing.
Hi, doctor.
So I know you may miss the effectiveness, but still, even in Uganda, you have industry associations, or you have the Export Promotion Council, and you can ask them, do you have a database? Because they have database of buyers also, you can ask them for it. You may find a good officer who will assist you to get that to market. All right. So that is what I would suggest. Other than that, it is calling them up. Seriously, really reaching out for your buyers. I know the owner of New Cafe Uganda, Ibrahim, listen to this. New Cafe in Uganda, you know them maybe? New Cafe, and then there's another one, and I forgot the brand. They actually reached out. There was one particular also, he flew to London like several times. He started with reaching out personally to those retailers and supermarkets. That's what you have to do. You just have to be on it and stand out. All right, Ibrahim, it wouldn't fall into your lap. It's hard work, but those are the best avenues. I hope that was helpful, Ibrahim, and sorry for interrupting you. So who's next?
Hi, I'm Garfield, if you can hear me.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
So basically, I'm an interactive flat panel manufacturer, and I work in IT schools. So I'd like to find out, how can I get my product, especially into Ghana, with our interactive flat panels? So those are the things that replace chalkboards and projectors and all of that. Just a big screen inside the school, and it works interactively with the kids.
All right, thank you so much.
Education, yeah.
So here's what I would say. First of all, well, you're in the education kind of technology, but education field. Here's several things I would say. First of all, Ghana and education is a good match. So, the market also needs to match the industry. Otherwise, I would have asked you why that country. It's always important that we choose the country in Africa that is the right match with our industry interests. All right. Sometimes we're emotional about it, how we make our choices. So it is a good match. Now, what I would do is I would do two things. Number one, I would reach out to the Ministry of Education. Okay. You can possibly get a list of schools. to reach out to, but also to find out more about e-learning. You know, how far has it come in Ghana? Now we have, of course, the situation of coronavirus. There's an added need for it. Some of it is e-learning, and then you have projectors also, as I understand, that you put into the schools, right? So it is to go to the office in charge in that industry. So it could be, as I said, the Ministry of Education, or it could be something similar, like maybe there is an association for schools or colleges. Why you want to take that route is, once you have won them over, you can then connect to the schools, contact them and say, I have received your contact details through the Ministry of Agriculture, or through the association of, I don't know, I'm making this up, the association of colleges.
Education.
Right? And therefore, you gain kind of trust and authority, because now you have come through the officials as a reference, and people will be more inclined to, you know, to listen to you, to become responsive, to work with you. Having said that, I also want to let you know that I would explore the opportunities outside of the education sector. One sector that is growing fast also in Ghana is, or industry rather, it's the conference industry. All right, you have a huge number, growing number of conferences happening in Ghana. Now, what you often see is, and I'm going to mute everyone for better audience. What you often see is that that these conference producers will need some of the equipment, and they do not have it all locally. So either the conference producers that are coming from South Africa or the UK or wherever need to bring their own equipment to a certain extent, or they need to bring it from another country, or especially if there are several conferences happening at the same time. So I do not know exactly what the situation in Ghana is in terms of people providing these technologies. I know in Rwanda, for example, there was a huge shortage of that. And you know, the convention center mentioned, oh, we had a big conference, we couldn't find the equipment, we had to fly it in from Nairobi, okay, for the next day, because it wasn't available. So what I'm trying to say is, look, if your kind of presentation skills or the screens, as you said, could also be used in another industry that may be possibly more dynamic and more prepared to pay for your services than schools and the education sector, especially if the education sector is government owned and not private, it can be difficult to make deals. All right. Okay. I hope that was helpful. Next, Ibrahim, sorry, no, Faraja, Dava, and let's see who's waving into the camera. Antoinette is waving. Who else is waving? Oh, a lot of people. I cannot see all. Paul and Pro Woman.
Anybody can go?
Yes.
So my question is, where can I read the classifications that you're giving for the high risk and low reward countries and things of that nature? Those.
Yeah, this is something I teach in, I have a virtual Africa Business Bootcamp, for example. I teach it there. That's just a course, or part is my academy program. So because it's 54 countries, and doing business in Africa can also be complex. So I talk a lot about how to reduce risk. And of course, I mean, it would take hours on every single subject. If you have a particular country in mind, I can maybe give you an answer now. Other than that, you know, these details.
Congo and Tanzania.
Okay, so the DRC is a high risk, high opportunity country. Is that DRC or Brazzaville, Congo?
Brazzaville.
Oh, Brazzaville. Well, Brazzaville is Brazzaville is more in the high risk, low opportunity category. So I would not really, if you have an option and you're flexible, it is a difficult country to start with.
Brazzaville was west, right?
No, yeah, so there's two Congos. There's the Democratic Republic of Congo, where Kinshasa is the capital city, and then you have Congo, where Brazzaville is the capital city. So both of them, in any case, are high risk. DRC, Congo is higher risk, but high opportunity too. All right. So the DRC has a lot of opportunity. I'm gonna mute. Has a lot of opportunity, but it is high in risk. Tanzania falls into a low risk, high opportunity category. Please don't unmute yourself. Okay. What's happening now? Do we still have a clear audio? I hope so. All right. So Tanzania is low risk, high opportunity. However, as a non-national, you need to be aware that there are some restrictions, especially when it comes to purchasing land in Tanzania. It is very difficult to do that. You are not actually able to own any land as a non-national. All right, I hope that helps. Next, whoever I called before, go. Pro woman, go ahead.
Oh, hi, this is Antoinette from New York. The question I have is, we're looking to travel to Rwanda as early as July. We are interested in superfoods. Do you have any good on-the-ground contacts for Rwanda?
All right, thank you, Antoinette. Pro woman, as you can see, Antoinette was faster than you. I'm so sorry, you will be next. All right, pro woman, you will be next. So Antoinette, when it comes to superfoods, well, do you have any specific ones or just general?
We're looking at moringa. We're looking at getting involved in, with black seed oil, just different stuff like that.
Okay, so here's the thing. Rwanda, of course, generally is a great market to come in. You know, okay. It's low risk, high opportunity. It's one of the best in the category. As a non-national, it is so easy to do business. You can get your registration within hours, and I really mean it. You get your business registration within a day. I've seen it. Applied in the morning, in the evening, business registration was done. That was, you know, done. So that is good. However, you also need to always ask, as I said, does your industry or the product that you want to get started in, is that the best match with the country you chose? Okay. And frankly, when it comes to superfoods and the ones you have mentioned, I do not think that Rwanda is your best match. Okay. When it comes to these superfoods you mentioned, Ghana may be one of your best matches. You know, of course, in terms of, and when I say that in terms of availability, in terms of you know, a secured supply chain, that means how advanced is the sector in this regard? Okay. You may have farmers planting it, but that doesn't mean that they're up to scratch in terms of getting it to a certain level, in terms, you know, processing it or even just drying it and getting it approved in terms of the quality control. So you need a country that is slightly more advanced in that regard. Ghana has a lot of superfoods available, including the ones you have mentioned. It has already a lot of producers and processors that understand that on a much larger scale than Rwanda would have. Uganda is another one where you also have several of these products. So here's the thing: you need to look, Antoinette, at what particular product you want. I would start with one or two. I wouldn't do superfoods and then do a whole range. That's overwhelming. Okay. Start with one or two, and then look which country in Africa is really advanced in this regard, not just producing it, but also being able to actually process it and get the quality standards right. Okay. And I muted already. I'm already. Who is listening to radio and skipping my system? All right. Hold on. Okay. So who's next? One of those. Like, pro woman is next. I promised her, and then pro woman, please, and then Abdurrahman.
Hello.
No, it's pro woman first, and then Abdurrahman. Pro woman, this is your chance.
Okay,
all right. Go ahead, Abdurrahman. I'm sorry, she has challenges, I think, with unmuting. Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. I'm really happy to be with you here and all the participants. I'm honestly from Somalia, and I wanted to ask you two questions, if it's possible, please.
Yes, please, go ahead.
The first question is, are you getting involved to Somalia, and or if it's so, so did you provide a practice. And the next question is, do you pay or did you give an online training?
All right, so Abdurrahman, let me come in. So Somalia is, so far, what I do when I teach also my academy members and so on, I usually focus on the low risk, high opportunity countries in terms of providing like really hands-on guidance. Now, Somalia is not a low risk, high opportunity country. We hope it will become one soon. That means that so far I have not really been focusing on Somalia myself. And I do not really know, the business climate, or many insights are out from that in terms of doing business in Somalia. Let me ask you, are you based in Somalia or are you based outside?
I'm inside Somalia, especially
All right.
The capital of Mogadishu.
So, okay, so if you're in Mogadishu, of course, then you may not have the flexibility to go somewhere else. So here's what you need to do if you are already in a certain market. You need to understand which are the best industries in Somalia to get into. So instead of just coming up with an idea, look at the industries that are doing really, really well. Now, one way to find that out, and I haven't checked it for Somalia, is if you have an investment board in the country that is, pointing out the key sectors for the priority sectors. I think you may not have that yet. I'm not sure, but you can still go to certain offices and say which ones are the key sectors, priority sectors. Now, why is that important? It is important to understand the priority sectors for government, because that means that government will put in place enabling policies. So policies that make it easy for you to do business in that particular industry. So if the government of Somalia has decided that they will focus on tourism, for example, well, that's probably not happening right now, but to focus on trade, let's say, on exports, on manufacturing, on, real estate, on security. I don't know what the priorities are. Find out about the priority sectors and then understand what's missing in those sectors and then position yourself in one of those sectors. And again, it's important to understand what is driving the country forward so that you go into a sector where improvements are being made. All right. So that is a kind of a strategy I can give you that is very, very powerful. Where you look, where is the country going? Which industries are doing well and will grow in the next 5 years? And then you position yourself now, so you are among the winners in 5 years from now.
Okay,
right?
so yeah.
Abdurrahman, unfortunately, I won't have a follow-up question, as I said to everyone. I'm going to move on because so many are queuing. I hope that was helpful.
Hello.
And all the best to Mogadishu. Yes, who is next?
Hello, it's me. Hello.
Who's me?
This is
Juliet.
Michelle.
Hello.
Pro woman. Hold on, ladies. Okay. So pro woman.
Can you hear me?
Pro woman. Just a moment.
Hello?
I'm going to mute everyone. Sorry. You need to. Pro woman is next. Then Juliet. Then Ebele. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? This is Pro Woman. Okay, greetings. Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle, actually. My username came up. I put a young man through school in Ghana. And when we talk about doing business in Africa, I don't hear people saying enough that they want to invest in people. So I describe him as my African investment. So I put a young man through school in Africa. He's now an agricultural extension worker in a little town right around Mampong, Ghana. He has a degree in agricultural education. And Dr. Harnet, he would be very valuable to you in your work. So I want to know, how could he possibly get extra income as being a consultant, a potential partner for someone? And I want people to think about talking more about investing in the people of the African continent. People are always a nation's most valuable resource. So that's my question.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Now, here's the thing. When you invest into people, you want to create in our case anyway, in our context, for example, business leaders out of them, you know, you want to create leaders that can uplift their communities. And that is very, very important. Now, here's what I would say. It is not enough, unfortunately, Michelle, in this day and age to just say, oh, I've gone through school, or I'm an expert in this or that. All right. When it comes to business, you need to be able to position yourself in the marketplace. So to just say I have so many degrees, or this is who I am, and you attach a title to yourself, I'm an agricultural extension expert, which is great, but that doesn't make you successful, nor will people want to do business with you, because the business the business world works differently. Okay, so the first thing that I would suggest is that your friend positions himself in the marketplace if in fact he doesn't want to be an academic or a government official, which he can be as an extension worker, but he wants to go into the world of business. And when he wants to go into the world of business, he needs to understand, okay, what is my role here? So that is the first thing that he needs to identify. As an example, okay, I'm serving agricultural companies, and it needs to be more narrowed down. I'm serving let's say pineapple farm growers in Ghana, or I'm serving, you know, dairy farms in Ghana, or I'm serving, I don't know, fodder production farms in Ghana, and then I'm connecting them. For example, I make sure that their quality, the quality of their product, is up to scratch, that, you know, up to standard, so they are ready for export. So one thing that governments, and the reason why I'm mentioning governments is it's important to know where the country is going, or what is the agenda, the national development agenda. That's very important to understand for your positioning. Now, by and large, African governments want to drive forward exports. That's what they want to grow. And that means that the policies for exports out of Africa will become more enabling, while the policies for imports in Africa will become more disabling. All right, that's why we need to understand the context. So as exports, for example, are becoming more enabling, now, Michelle, you need to understand, okay, what are the challenges in the export industry in Ghana? I'm just giving you an example here, okay? What are the challenges? Once you understand the challenges, your friend then needs to understand, okay, how do I come in as an extension worker to meet these challenges? One challenge could be the quality standards. The product is nice, yummy, but it's not up to scratch in terms of being exported into the European Union, for example. So now your friend, instead of saying I'm an expert in, you know, agricultural expert, he can say, I help you to improve the standards of your product so it is ready for the EU market. That is the kind of positioning and communication that works in business. Okay, so even you, I'm fully with you. You know, I want to invest in people. Absolutely, that's why most of us are here. But in the business world, you need to understand how do you communicate a value to the marketplace, okay? And the value here, for example, would be, I help you to make your products export ready. I'm the go-to person for that, okay? So the positioning is what you need to work on. And so who goes next? Yes, please, ladies, the ones I called, go next. Go ahead.
Me?
Go ahead, Juliet.
Sorry, my English is not good. It's really bad. You know,
no worries, you're very good. Go ahead.
So I didn't have degree. I didn't go to school like that. But I just want now I want to invest. It's like the farm and Ivory Coast or in the Congo. I want to know what kind of thing I can do in Ivory Coast first, and the Congo, Kinshasa. And
okay. Thank you. I will guide you. First of all, where are you based right now, Juliet?
I'm in England.
All right. Oh, you're in England. So you're outside. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
why DRC or why Ivory Coast?
Because I'm from Ivory Coast normally.
All right. Well, here's the thing. That is an emotional decision. It may be or may not be a good country to do business in, or to do business in agriculture. Okay. So, but just because we don't have much time here, otherwise I would say much more about that. First of all, you want to start with agriculture. That is your starting point. When you know your industry of choice, you then need to look for the best match in Africa, the best country match for that industry. Okay? That is the way to go. Having said that, Ivory Coast and agriculture is a great match. Ivory Coast is a low risk, high opportunity market in West Africa. It is one that has done incredible improvements in terms of business environment. It's on the right path. I would hence choose Ivory Coast over the DRC. Stick with Ivory Coast, forget the DRC for the time being, because you need focus, all right? So then I would say, all right, agriculture, Ivory Coast, that's where you are. Now you need to find the best product for Ivory Coast to start with. Now, for those of you in agriculture, this is how you need to get started. You need a product that you can sell locally, regionally, and internationally, all right? Because in the beginning, when you're starting out in agriculture, you can only sell locally. You can never be as good in terms of quality and quantity. You will not have the right quality and quantity in the beginning to be ready for exports internationally. And therefore, what you want to do is you want to start with a product that you can sell fast locally, all right? But then that when you grow your business, you can also export easily, regionally and internationally, because the demand is there also for the same product. Okay? So that means for the time being, I would go with a non-traditional product. Non-traditional product means mainly that it is a product that the majority of farmers are not growing, all right? A non-traditional product is a product that usually the farmers would not grow because they're not used to it. Why do you want to grow a so-called non-traditional product? Because hardly anyone, if anyone, in Ivory Coast is growing it, all right? As an example, my favorite example, as you know, but this is just one example out of many, is strawberries. One example, out of many, all right? So the traditional farmer in Africa would not go for strawberries. However, you have a fast-growing hospitality industry also in the Ivory Coast. You have the hotels, the restaurants, the supermarkets, and a consumer base who wants strawberries. And therefore, you can position yourself quickly as a newcomer, because even if you have only 2 kilo or 10 kilo to sell, you will be able to sell it because no one else is selling it. All right. And then on top of it, you have maybe possibly the dairy industry who wants berries or strawberries or other berries. You have the hospitality industry. And then it's a product that you could also sell regionally and internationally. There are other products, you know, there could be certain herbs, there could be certain fruits, you know, apples, prunes, there could be certain spices or herbs that are not grown traditionally, but the hospitality industry wants it. Now, it's very important that we foster towards that, because the hospitality industry in Africa is one of the main supplies for jobs on the continent. It is a hugely important industry for the continent in terms of earning foreign currency and revenue. And therefore, it's also important that that sector becomes internationally competitive and that this sector is supported. And therefore, growing certain food items that focus on the hospitality industry, dear Juliette, is one of your best ways to go about. All right. What you can do is you walk into a few restaurants or a few hotels in Ivory Coast. You ask to speak to the restaurant manager. And then you ask them, what do you get locally easily? And then you ask him, what do you get locally but it's hard to get? And then you ask him, what's not available locally at all. And that will be one of your best research, to ask 10 of these restaurant and hotel managers, because it gives you a lot of insights about the market, and they're potentially your best buyers. Last thing, you cannot do it while being based outside, is a business model that you need to run on the ground. All right, fantastic. I hope this was helpful, Juliet. Next.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All the best. All the best. All right, so who was next? All right, okay. Yes, please, who was that? Did I miss? Ebele, I think, was next.
Yeah, okay.
Ebele, Oseni, yeah, Oseni, Ebele, go ahead.
I live in Texas, United States. I have done a business in Nigeria a few years ago, but the business was not really working. I invested over 10 million, and I'm planning again to start another business. I just want you to, if there's any, you were talking about low risk and high risk. I just want to, you haven't mentioned Nigeria. I don't know whether it's part of low risk or high risk.
Okay, let me ask you, Oseni, any particular industry you want to get into? So any particular?
I invested in water, processing water for people like.
Okay, water provision. Is that something you want to go back to, or any other industry?
Now I'm thinking of laundry business now.
Laundry. Okay. All right, Osini. So here, let me give you a little bit of some guidance, and I'm just going to mute you. So I assume that you chose Nigeria because Nigeria is your country. So as I said to Juliette, is an emotional decision. Having said so, it's very important that you make a strategy out of it. Nigeria is a great country to invest in. It is full of opportunity, but it is a high risk, high opportunity country. Now, when you operate in a high risk, high opportunity country, there's a few things that you need to be aware of. I can't go into all of them because that is an entire teaching session, okay? But what I want to say is one of your best bets is to go into a low risk industry if you are in a high risk market. So, because just as markets, there is low risk industries and there's high risk industries, okay? And if you match a high risk market with a high risk industry, then you have a challenge. So for example, if you match Nigeria with solar, high risk and high risk, it can be very, very difficult to make that business successfully get started and grow successfully, you know, especially if you're short of finance to really see you through until you get successful. So now, instead of coming up with ideas, as you just said, oh, I want to do water, oh, I want to do laundry, take a strategic approach. The strategic approach would be, all right, what are the priority sectors for the government of Nigeria that are then low risk, all right, low risk. And the reason why I say low risk is because then you have a higher chance to achieve, to succeed if you go into a low risk industry. So high risk industry in Nigeria would be construction, finance, real estate, all possible. But a challenge if you are going for the first time, you know, or you have failed before and you're kind of wary now, concerned, you know, or you have limited budget. All right. So now look at the higher end, the priorities for the lower risk industries in Nigeria. So for example, there's agriculture, which is a low risk industry. There's ICT, so tech, online businesses that are lower in risk. There's service, the service sector, the service industry also. Now, the laundry business could fall into that, okay, into the service industry. You need to now understand, okay, you know, what is that industry looking like at the moment? Is it already very competitive? Is it crowded? Is there something missing in that industry, or is there a way I can come in? All right. So, you know, I'm sorry to all of you if I'm really cutting a lot of corners, to be very honest, because I can see so many hands up. There's so much I could say on just that one case. And maybe sometimes if it sounds odd, it's because I'm cutting down to quickly move. So here's what I would say. Let's go back to the laundry business. It could be potentially successful, all right, because you have a growing corporate industry in Nigeria. You have a growing real estate industry, and generally and you have growing infrastructure such as airports, hospitals, hopefully soon for all of you in Nigeria. So therefore, more cleaning services could be needed. All right. Now, important is now that you understand, okay, if that is in fact an industry where I can come in, and that is something to be really checked, the competition in this regard. But if it was, Hosseini, it's important, how do I position myself that I do stand out from other cleaning companies? That is the point here. So to just come up with an idea and then say, okay, let me buy the equipment, let's get in there. That's usually how most people approach it. And that's why so many people fail, because they have not understood the strategy in terms of, as I said, is this a priority sector? Is it dynamic? Is it fast growing? Or is it already overloaded, competitive? Is it in its infant shoes? They have not understand the broader dynamic, but they have also not understood how to position themselves in the marketplace. So I'll give you a quick example. There's so much I can say, but I'm gonna give you a quick example. If you want to position yourself, you could, for example, two things. You could, for example, say, all our cleaners, all right, are women from disadvantaged communities, all right? So for example, these are women who have disabilities, or women who were on the streets, or women who are single moms, So by having a cleaning company that is only employing women from disadvantaged communities, guess what? You are already standing out in the world of cleaning, okay? As an example, I'm just saying, as an example, okay? Because now you are telling the story about your cleaning company. Instead of saying, we're cleaning your floors and this is what we can do and how we clean, you're saying, we're taking care of these women who we took from the streets because their husbands died or something like that, okay? And we're taking care of their children while they're cleaning. Now, guess what? There are a lot of companies, including all the UN agencies and corporate offices and government offices, who would want that story because it is corporate responsibility or it is social responsibility, and it makes them look and feel good. And therefore, that is just one way to position yourself in a somewhat competitive world of cleaning, where you tell a story. And now you become different, and people remember you because they may not remember all the other 20 cleaners they met, but hey, Hosseini was the guy who is taking the women from the streets and taking care of their children while they're cleaning. And so that is what I mean, the power of positioning. You have to understand that, Hosseini, in order to make it. The cleaning business is low risk in Nigeria. Check it out, do your research, and position yourself powerfully. All right? Okay, fantastic. Who goes next?
Right.
All right. All right, hold on. And you know what it is? It is, at my end, it is 6:30. I'm, by the way, I'm old school. I'm old school. I don't do mobile phones. I do alarm clocks. It is 6:30. I promised my children 90 minutes, not more, because last time we did 3 hours, and this was like an extra session I did. I can see so many more of you are queuing. I can't take everyone. I apologize. By the way, remember Andrew, please. Andrew was the guy who raised his hand while I was still making the introduction to this session. He's a go-getter. In business, you have to be like that, all right? If you're like waiting and you're like mixing with the masses and you're thinking, and then you're the last one to queue up, or someone, now I just see a mass of hands, all right? Andrew, he stood out. Look, I remember his name. He was the first one, right? So that is important in business. So it's also always a good opportunity to learn. If you wait in business, if you are one of the last, if you mix with the masses and you're not visible, you will lose out. So this is a good lesson, but unfortunately I can't take everyone, but I'll take 3 more. All right, 3 more. Hold on. And now I'm going to take those visible on video. There's London, there's Marwa, and Henok. That's it. There was a lady in red. She's standing out just because she's wearing red. That's Joel. I'm taking 4. All right, 2 ladies and 2 men. And I'm so sorry. I know there's so many. Yeah, Fulton, I can see you, but it's too late now. All right. So go ahead. The 4 of you.
Hello, doctor.
Yes, please.
First of all, I want to say I appreciate you and everything that you're doing. So the first question, I'm from Somalia originally, and I'm based in Dubai. So I've taken your importing course. I probably went through it 5 times, and I'm still stuck at the first part, which is finding a
Marwa,
product.
Sorry to interrupt you. As I said to our other sister, if you're in the importing program, we have our live session just among us, the importers. All right. So where we have time, I wouldn't be rushing you. It's coming up. I'm going to announce it in a couple of days.
All right. Perfect then.
So then we can have like a quiet session among us. And okay.
All right.
Is that all right?
Thank you very much. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Fantastic. All right.
Okay, my turn.
Yes, please.
Enter London.
London, go ahead.
Okay. I work with a telecom company, and I want to go into fish farming. You explained how you have to do your feasibility study, and I've taken that point. I wanted to know what you know about fish farming in terms when you come into Ghana. Is some sector I can go in and make something out of it?
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. It is a great sector to go in, industry to go in, because first of all, you know, generally the agriculture sector, the livestock sector is one that is fast growing. It's a government priority. So that means policies are becoming more enabling. That is always very important to take care of. And on top of it, you know, we have a growing population of people in Africa who need food, who need protein, and also affordable protein. Sometimes they, you know, there's of course meat, but people want also fish as a healthier option or an affordable option. Now I'm going to go with the healthier option because I want you to always sell to the people who have money in the beginning. That is very important. When you start out in Africa, make sure that you're selling to the people who have money, not to the poor. If you're selling to the poor, you have tiny profit margins. That means you have to really produce in bulk, in huge quantity to actually make enough money. That is something for people who are already successful. They know what they're doing. For us in the startup world, it's important that we focus on buyers that actually have enough spending power. So the consumers that can afford it, higher end, or businesses that we sell to businesses, because as a startup, we will only sell a few products, but then the profit margins are much, much higher when you're selling to those with spending power, and therefore you can become successful much faster. And that is important for you and Africa. We have too many failing businesses, okay? That's what I often say. We're all there because we want to serve, but the main thing in the beginning is that we succeed. So, Mr. London, coming back to your question, what I would do is, fish farming is absolutely a great idea. Now you have to think, do you want to go into fish farming from a sea point of view? Of course, there's huge access to the sea. So you're working with fishermen. And then of course, there's also terrestrial fishing where you have ponds or where you have fish farms on the land. You can do both. Important is that you first understand both, and then you also decide which one to go for. That would be your first step. The second step then again, Mr. London, and everyone here, is my favorite word, that you understand how to position yourself. If you're just selling fish, that is not enough, because a lot of other people are selling fish too. All right. Yes, sometimes you're lucky, for all of you, that the demand is so big, all right, that the demand is so big that people do really buy from you anyway, because you will always have buyers because there's not enough supply. But still, the power of positioning is very important, especially when you come into a new industry as a newcomer. So here's a few things that I would do. Number one, first of all, understand your industry. Who are your main buyers? Would this be restaurants? Would this be hotels? Would this be supermarkets? All right. Your hospitality in the hospitality industry, in my view, is your best client for the time being, because whenever you start out, you start first locally. Later, you can think maybe of exporting, but first locally. So the hospitality industry, what does the hospitality industry want? Plus the supermarkets. So what you need to do, London, is to have talks with people, stakeholders in this industry. As I said before, speak to the restaurant managers, speak to the restaurant managers in the hotels. I always do that. There's a wealth of knowledge in these people in terms of what is required. And the second thing you can do is you go into the supermarkets in Accra and the higher end supermarket, all right? Check what's out there. What kind of fish is there? Processed, unprocessed. What's there, what's not there? So one thing I can tell you, what's not there in the supermarkets of Accra, as an example, is fish fingers. Well, I think the Americans, you call them fish sticks. In Britain, we call them fish fingers. Fish fingers or fish sticks, all right? Or fish nuggets. So here you go, it is missing. It's not available, at least not in those supermarkets that I looked into, okay? And now you have a consumer group of, well-off moms who are busy, all right? Who are busy working, and they want access to products like that. It is very, very easy to produce that. Fish nuggets or fish fingers or fish sticks, you just cut that, I don't know, put some breadcrumbs around it and have it packaged and freezed, all right? I told you last time, the potato chips or French fries frozen in Accra supermarkets came from France. Let that sink in. They came from France, imported from France. How difficult is it to cut a few potatoes into pieces and to freeze those potatoes? All right. Now, the same goes for your fish. What I would do is, instead of just selling fish like everyone else, maybe you become the go-to authority for fish sticks, fish fingers, fish nuggets, I don't know, family-sized fish, somehow packaged for the supermarkets or even the hotels who maybe want to serve. I mean, usually they prepare it, but there's some restaurants who, or fast food who want it pre-processed. They don't, fast food chains, for example, they want it pre-processed. And therefore, what I would do is look for these ideal buyers and then see what they need and be the ones that supplies that, rather than becoming another one who sells fish. All right, I hope that was helpful. Okay, who goes next? We had two more. Grab your microphones.
Hi.
Yes, please. Yes, Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, I was very interested with, cold house. The one you tell me to put, I don't know, like people who sell tomato.
Cold storage, you mean?
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
But now, I'm basically in UK, but I'm original from Congo, because you say Congo is high risk of and high opportunity, So I wanted to do that in Ghana. So how is it gonna?
Okay, all right. Thank you for the question. Here's the thing. So you want to go into cold storage. Now, to be honest, cold storage is really needed everywhere in Africa. Now, when you want to look cold storage, it belongs to the agricultural sector. Okay, so now you want to see, where do I have a low risk, high opportunity market? So my risk is lower and agriculture is high on the increase. Now, as you said, when it comes to the DRC, unfortunately, it is a little bit higher risk. And when you have cold stores, you're depending on the cooperation of government officials, because these cold stores, you have to have them situated in markets. You know, you have to have them located in public markets, for example, or at airports, and so on. And that means you're depending on government officials. And that is where the risk comes in when you operate in a high risk market, or you have high corruption. You as a startup, if you're depending on the go ahead from a government official for your business to succeed in terms of, can I put it here? Can I put my storage here? That can cost you a lot in the beginning, especially if you're not used to navigating the environment. And therefore, I highly suggest, if that is the product and the industry you want to go into, that you start with a low risk, high industry country. When we go to West Africa, it would be Ghana, it would be Ivory Coast, Senegal, for example. If we go to East Africa, it would be Rwanda. It would be, well, Kenya is low risk, high end, but also high corruption. Unfortunately, it's the one risk factor that is very high in Kenya. But other than that, Kenya would be a great country, Tanzania. And then Southern Africa, Botswana, for example, Namibia, South Africa. Now, you can do it in two ways. If you want to start it on your own, you mentioned Ghana is a good match. Now, what you need to do is basically, you need to understand the costing, the return on investment for it. A cold storage in a good quality, solar powered. We know it from a company that operates in Nigeria. The cold hubs are made in Germany. It costs 27,000 for one cold hub, solar powered, okay? And you can have it cheaper done in other countries, maybe for 15,000 to 20,000. Now, I cannot go into all the details, but you can make it, depends on the size of the cold hub, of course. But you could make about $1,500 earning with all your expenses. You know, earning about $1,500 per month. Now, when you earn about $1,500 a month, let's say, and your cold hub or your cold room costs you 15,000, then in 10 months, you have made your return back. You have made your investment back, all right? If the cold room cost you 30,000, you need 20 months to make your money back. Now, after that, I believe the cold room version, to all of you, the cold room version, in my view, if you start out, is not going to make you a lot of money as a business 2-3 years down the line. However, it is an amazing investment project, because let's say you're making your money back in 10 months to 18 months, right? And now you're earning 1,500 every day, and it is a product, a service where you do not need to be on site. You know, you can have two people. One is the storage manager, the cold store manager, and the other one is the person that goes from in the market from person to person to win them over, to tell them about the story, the marketer. All right, so you can help in the beginning, but you do not really need to be there. And farmers will find a huge value in your storeroom, because otherwise they will lose all the produce, because it goes off, sorry, after a few days because of the heat. So therefore, they will love your service, and you can make 1,500 almost on a passive, as a passive income. Can you see? Because you're not working there. You could be working on another business or in another job, and yet that business is making you 1,500. Now, in a year, you have 18,000. All right. In 2 years, in 10 years, you have 180,000. No, 18,000, 180,000. Now, this is in 10 years, okay? And of course, if you manage it very well. But then the question is, which bank would you give you that kind of return on about 20,000 investment after 10 years? The answer is none, all right? So therefore, how I see the cold rooms, Joelle, I do not see them as a business model where you make a lot of money on a monthly basis, but I see them as an amazing investment model over a period of 10 years. especially if you do not touch the money or you invest it into more cold rooms. Okay, so that's what I would suggest. Then there's a company out there called Cold Hubs. They're based in Nigeria. So what you can also do is you can invest with Cold Hubs. They're a social enterprise. They're doing, very well. They've been funded by one of the big funding agencies. So, there's a reliable kind of company. So you can invest in that, but they're not doing passive income investment. That means they're not paying you out 1,500 every month. They do a loan investment, all right? So they want your money as a loan. Unmute everyone. They want your money as a loan, and then they're going to pay you back the interest rates, okay? So it's a slightly different model. I love passive income models. But nevertheless, you could also work with this existing business in Nigeria called Cold Hubs. All right, I hope this was helpful. And Henok, yes, please, go ahead.
May I continue?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm Henok, I'm from Ethiopia. Currently, I'm working on supplying of agricultural materials and medical equipment by importing from China to government. We participate on a government bid, and mostly we supply a very few medical equipment. But we need to expand this to Africa. I have been in Kigali in December and in South Africa. It helps me to see what Africa is actually. I mean, and I understand that there's a lot of gap, but I need the way to help me that how can I participate on the government bids first of all? How can I see the bids? I mean, I have heard that you have written a book to how to see the government bids something.
Yes, I haven't updated them since then.
Yeah.
All right, Henok.
But
so
you know the problem. Wait a second.
Sure. Okay, the problem. Go ahead.
I need to buy that book from Ethiopia, but I don't have an international bank account that I can pay to Amazon or something. So I need you to tell me if there is a way. How can I get that book?
Okay.
Also.
Thank you, Henok. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just as I said,
No
there were so many people today. So here's what I would suggest. One question first. So are you going to stick with those medical equipments, and in which kind of, within the health sector, what kind of medical equipments are they?
Currently, we have decided to join the medical equipment very near, especially after the COVID things happen. We have started to focus on the medical equipment, but for the last 5 and 6 years, we have been working on the agricultural materials. But on the new year, on December, around December, it's a family business that I am running, and we decided to join the medical equipment. Not even we didn't have even started on practice. I mean, but we are just decided to engage not only in Ethiopia but in Africa.
Okay, so you haven't really started. Okay, all right, thank you. So here's what I would suggest, a few things. First of all, I like the way you think, that you're saying, okay, because of COVID, the demand for certain medical equipment may grow, and let us position ourselves in this regard. So that way of thinking generally is good, it will serve you. And now here's some of the challenge that you may face. The health sector in general is a sector quite highly regulated. And on top of that, it is a sector where when you are going with government bids, it is difficult because governments don't make quick buying decisions, all right? And the third one is that you can also quickly hit your ceiling. And with that, I mean is you will usually have less players in the health industry across Africa than you may have in the agricultural industry, for example. So I just want you to be aware of possible risks, Henok. So one, as I said, is it is a highly regulated industry. It's difficult to come in very often. Then the fact that you're using as a strategy to sell to governments, and the fact that you can hit your ceiling quickly with certain equipments because the sector is not as large as, for example, the agricultural sector. So here's what I would suggest. First of all, I would actually, even although this has been working for you maybe so far, I would move away from government bids. That would be my first advice to you. Because government, first of all, is very slow to move. You will always be depending on their responsiveness, on their time frames. It is difficult to communicate with them. And then on top, you're doing it from afar. And then you have aspects like corruption and a health sector that's not very easy. And all of that combined makes your job easier. If seriously, you could be doing business so much easier, you know? So what I'm trying to say, I think you're choosing the difficult route. I would suggest a different route. Number one, if you're into the health industry and you want to go down that route, I would focus on private health, the private health sector. So private hospitals, private, I don't know, pharmacy, private GP practice, you know, general practitioners and so on, because they're the ones who can make fast decisions and you are not part of the bureaucracy. And therefore, this would be my first advice to you, would be to go with the private ones. That would be the first one, and forget the entire bidding process. That is one thing. If you then go with the private ones, it's important, okay, which niche? Again, then, it's important that you go with a equipment that you can easily scale across borders. All right, and scale, that is important. So let me give you an example. If you are going with equipment for the cancer treatment, then cancer treatment, you will quickly hit your ceiling because there are only so many private healthcare facilities that can actually afford it or that are actually into cancer treatment. And therefore, there will be only very few. And once you have talked to the few, that's it. You don't know whom to sell to. However, if in comparison, as an example, and just as an example for showing you how to scale, but I don't think this is the best product, but if you take the masks, for example, the COVID masks, you can have it, you know, you can sell it to so many potential buyers and you can quickly sell across countries, and the regulations for something like that will be very low. So what I'm trying to say is important is you focus on private, number one. Number two is that you choose an equipment that is easily scalable and that is not going to go with heavy regulations, because it's just a bandage or plaster or something like that, something simple. So that is what I would go for. And then it's important again that you position yourself, as I said. Positioning yourself is, okay, what do you stand for, how it is different? Let me give you an example. There is a pharmacist in Kigali, Rwanda, who among other pharmacists, you know, there's many pharmacists. The way he positioned himself was, I'm the pharmacist who only sells medication and equipment made in Europe. Now, guess what? The ones that can afford it, including myself, if I would be shopping there for my children, I would rather spend more money on the medication that I know is made in Europe or traded from Europe than the ones that are coming maybe from China and India. And I'm thinking twice if it's really medicine, if it works, or if it's just a fake product, right? So can you see, even with something that looks so simple, this is to all of you, the Africa Business Jumpstarters, the power of positioning cannot be overemphasized. And I am so sure that a lot of businesses in Africa fail because they do not understand the power of positioning. So even with whatever you're trading or offering, Henok, you need to understand how to position yourself. I just made an example. That guy is going with made in Europe only, or made in the West, but he went with made in Europe. And that means he was selling to a certain consumer base that wanted that. All right. So I will stop here. I'm so sorry. So much more I could say. So much more I could say.
About the book.
Henok, yes. Write me an email. I'll send you the book. All right.
Thank you so much.
The copy of the book. Yeah. Having said that, some of these links to the bidding companies, I haven't updated them. So check them. They're still there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
so
so
write
much.
me an email. You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I will mute everyone. Dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, so you know, I can see again so many of you are queuing, and again I did this extra session so we can have more time for your questions, and I hope still you found a lot of value in that, even listening just to the guidance that I gave to others, that you were able to learn from it, that you were able to get some gems out of that. From looking at all your questions, I can see that there's a growing, you know, interest among all of us in the African diaspora to do business with Africa and to invest on the continent. I truly believe, and I think many of you would agree with that, that Africa is the future, especially when it comes to business and investment. The time to get in there is right now. Unfortunately, we see a lot of businesses in Africa failing, and that is because they are not taking informed decisions. I always say, you know, when you go to get a driving license, you're happy to get an instructor and or a math tutor, but in business we all try to figure it out ourselves. So it's very important that you educate, and that's why you attended today. Today was just an act of service to me, an act of service from me to you. And I'm not going to, you know, offer you anything or engage you in any of my programs. I simply came out to answer your questions, and I hope I was able to do that. It just was very important to me that I just give back, especially also because I think our communities across the world are going through so much right now. So I just wanted to be of service. That's what I did today. I hope it worked. You know, let's stay in touch with each other. You're part of the online Africa Business Jumpstart community. I continue to educate yourselves and myself also, because guess what? The continent, you know, is always moving. There's so many things that are happening, so many new aspects to be learned. And that is so important if we want to become successful. We need to get into the continent by making informed decisions rather than emotional decisions. Stay in touch. You know my website is africajumpstart.com. I'm on YouTube as well. You can sign up to my channel if you haven't done so, because there also I teach on YouTube for free. And for those of you who are already part of my programs, I look forward to working with you. Seriously, I could continue this for hours and hours on end. I'm passionate about this. But right now, again, my children are waiting, and I promised them this time I will be faster than last week. So thank you so much. Wherever in the world you are, I wish you all the best. And let's continue working together. Let's continue to march together towards the success in Africa. It is the way forward for our continent. We all need to get in and get active and start building and empowering ourselves and each other. That's how we replace the old systems that we're not happy about across the world. So let's continue building, and all the best to you wherever in the world you are. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm going to unmute everyone to say goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harnet. Thank you,
everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.